Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're going to be exploring the really unique business journey of Derek Sivers,
Oh, yeah, I love this story.
the founder of CD Baby.
Absolutely.
Now, what's so interesting about this story is that he really wasn't motivated by sort of like the typical, business
Yeah.
ambitions, like massive growth or just maximizing profit.
hmm
His real goal was to empower musicians and to kind of improve their whole experience in the music industry.
Yeah, it's a really cool approach and definitely led to some fascinating decisions, like you said.
Oh, yeah.
So to get started, how about we rewind back to 1997, the year that CD Baby was born.
Okay.
So Sivers, he's a professional musician himself, had just finished recording an album,
Okay.
and he was trying to figure out how to sell it online.
Now, this was way before Spotify or iTunes or anything like that.
Oh, yeah,
Like, there were really no platforms for independent artists to sell their music digitally.
exactly. The online music stores that did exist back then mostly just worked with major labels.
Right.
And already, established artists,
Yeah,
those independent musicians were kind of left in a tough spot.
seems like it.
So Sivers, being the resourceful guy that he is, just decided to take matters into his own hands.
Oh, wow.
He basically built like a buy now button on his website, which was actually a revolutionary concept at the time.
Wow.
And it allowed him to sell his music directly to his fans.
Nice.
Yeah, without having to rely on those middlemen or distributors.
That's great.
And so you can imagine some of his fellow musician friends noticed what he was doing, and they were
Yes.
like, hey, Derek, can you help us sell our music too?
That makes sense.
Yeah, and this request is actually what sparked the idea for CD Baby.
Really?
Yeah, he realized that he could turn this, simple solution into a platform for all independent artists.
That's a great idea.
Create a space where they could connect directly with their audience.
Smart.
But here's the thing, Sivers, he wasn't interested in building a traditional company,
Yeah.
one that was just focused on profit. He really wanted to build what he called a musician's utopia,
That sounds really nice.
a place where artists were treated fairly and
Yeah.
empowered to, control their own careers.
I like that.
Yeah, and this vision, it really shaped CD Baby's core principles.
Okay.
Like from the start, he insisted on weekly payments for artists,
Okay.
giving them full access to all of their fan data,
Wow.
and completely rejecting paid placement, which was very common in the industry at the time.
That's interesting.
It was definitely a bold move,
Yeah.
a complete departure from how the music industry normally operated.
Yeah.
Sivers essentially created a system where every single artist had an equal opportunity to succeed,
Wow.
regardless of how many albums they sold or how popular they were.
That's pretty remarkable.
And on top of all of that, his business model was incredibly straightforward.
Okay.
There was a flat setup fee for each album and a small commission on each sale.
Okay.
No hidden fees or complicated contracts. Just a really simple and transparent system.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah, it was pretty refreshing.
And I bet some people listening are thinking, okay, this sounds pretty great on paper.
Yeah,
But how did CD Baby actually gain traction
right.
in such a competitive industry?
Well, Sivers really understood that in the online world, personal connections are everything.
I think that's true.
He prioritized those interactions and even injected a lot of humor into the CD Baby brand.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that confirmation email
I mean,
about the CDs being shipped via private jet?
Yeah, that's legendary.
It was such a simple thing,
Yeah.
but it made the experience so memorable.
Yeah, it was genius.
And it went beyond just funny emails. Their customer service was exceptional.
Oh,
They
absolutely.
answered the phone so quickly,
Right.
and they really engaged with the artists on a personal level. They
Yeah.
even had this "we'll do anything for a pizza" policy.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, it was great.
It's awesome.
So all of these little things helped create this really strong sense of community
Yeah.
amongst CD Baby's users. It was more than just a transaction, it felt like this collective of passionate individuals who all shared a common goal.
Yeah, I could see that.
And honestly, that community became CD Baby's strongest marketing tool.
Okay.
Word of mouth spread like wildfire,
Oh, yeah.
and more artists were drawn to the platform.
That makes sense.
Sivers really proved that genuine care for your customers can be
Right.
just as effective as any fancy marketing campaign.
Yeah, I think that's a really important lesson.
But navigating CD Baby's growth wasn't always easy.
Right.
As the company got bigger, Sivers had to learn how to delegate.
Yeah, that can be tough.
In the beginning, he really struggled to relinquish control.
Okay.
He was often micromanaging his team.
It's so hard to let go.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you're so passionate about something you built yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Sivers eventually realized that his need to control everything
Oh, yeah.
was actually holding the company back.
Oh, that's interesting.
He had to learn how to trust his team
Right.
and empower them to make decisions.
That's important.
But then, kind of ironically, his efforts to empower his employees
Oh,
went a little too far in the other direction.
really?
He started over-delegating
Oh, wow.
to the point where he felt like he had lost touch with the company's direction.
Oh, that's tough.
He described it as abdicating control
Oh,
instead of delegating responsibility. It was a tough lesson for him,
Yeah.
but it highlighted this delicate balance
Yeah.
between empowering your team and staying true to your vision.
That makes a lot of sense.
And then, of course,
Oh, no. Here we go.
there's that infamous $3.3 million mistake.
Oh, what happened?
Years earlier, Sivers had signed a contract
Oh.
without fully understanding all of the details.
Oh, no.
He ended up unknowingly giving away a large portion of CD Baby's ownership.
Oh, wow. That's rough.
It's a good reminder to always read the fine print.
Oh, yeah, and get legal advice.
Exactly. Yeah.
But honestly, what's most remarkable is Sivers' response to this. He didn't just dwell on the past. He took action.
Right.
He actually bought back the ownership.
Yeah.
He had unknowingly given away,
I know. It's amazing.
even though it cost him a fortune.
Yeah.
It really shows his resilience.
Yeah.
So even after all of that, Sivers achieved incredible success with CD Baby.
Yeah, he did.
But eventually he came to a realization that really changed the whole course of his journey.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
He started to feel like his passion for CD Baby was fading.
Really?
Yeah, the business had grown so much from those early days,
Right.
and he felt like his interests were kind of pulling him in new directions.
I can see that.
It takes a lot of courage to admit when your heart's not in something anymore,
Definitely.
especially when it's something so successful, you know?
Yeah, for sure. So what happened?
Well, he made the tough decision to sell CD Baby,
Wow.
but what he did with the money from that sale was really extraordinary.
I'm intrigued. What did he do?
He donated the entire $22 million to a charitable trust dedicated to music education.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible. It really shows his belief in this idea of having enough.
Yeah, I've heard him talk about that.
He often tells this story about Kurt Vonnegut and Joseph Heller.
Oh, yeah, I love that story.
So they were at this party hosted by a billionaire,
Okay.
and Vonnegut was commenting on how much money this guy had.
Right.
And Heller just said, yeah, but I have something he will never have enough.
Powerful.
Right? It's like a profound way to think about success, you know?
Yeah, totally.
And Sivers really embodies that by choosing to focus on things like fulfillment and creativity
Mm-hmm.
and making a positive impact rather than, just chasing money.
That's awesome.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Derek Sivers' unconventional journey,
Okay.
let's take a moment to recap those 10 key takeaways that we talked about.
Sounds good.
Number 1, Sivers was initially motivated by his own needs as a musician,
Oh,
and he launched CD Baby back in 1997 to sell his music online.
got it.
Number 2, CD Baby actually blossomed into this major force in independent music distribution. Number 3, Sivers took a really unique approach,
Yeah.
prioritizing artist empowerment
Mm.
and, treating them well,
Right.
which was totally different from what the industry was used to.
I remember.
Number 4, bootstrapping CD Baby allowed Sivers to focus on his customers
Right.
without any pressure from investors or anything like that.
Right.
Number 5, small acts of kindness and just human connection
Yeah.
in CD Baby's customer service were really important.
Yeah, absolutely.
It created this loyal community and led
Yeah.
to a ton of organic growth.
Makes sense.
Number 6, Sivers eventually learned to delegate,
Mm-hmm.
but he also learned the hard way about the dangers of over-delegating.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Number 7, that expensive mistake with the contract
Oh, yeah.
showed how important it is to really scrutinize legal documents
Yes.
and get good advice.
For sure.
Number 8, Sivers recognized when he was no longer passionate about the business,
Yeah.
and he made that really brave decision to sell CD Baby, even though it was hard.
That was a big one.
Number 9, donating all the money to a music education charity
Right.
showed his commitment to the idea of having enough
Totally.
and using his success to make a difference.
Such a great example.
And finally, number 10, Sivers' story encourages us all to think differently,
yeah.
to challenge the traditional ideas of success,
Mhm.
and to pursue what truly brings us joy and meaning.
That's great.
So we'll leave you with this thought.
Okay.
What dreams would you chase if you already felt like you had enough? What would you prioritize if you weren't so focused on those traditional measures of success?
That's a good question.
Keep those in mind as you go on your own journey.
I will.
Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.